of me. Run through the land, you run through my soul. Bring me wisdom and peace. Run through all ages and all of life's stages. You bring me around to find my release.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have from Worcester, we have Nolan, and he is the founder and CEO of RydroFarming. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I read about this in the Telegram Gazette. I think it's dated August 4th.
Yes.
And I said, we got to get you on. It extends the growing season for indoor tomatoes.
That is correct.
First of all, how did you get into this?
Yeah, so it all actually stemmed from a school project I had my freshman year of college. The idea was to take kind of a business and develop it around an economy that was struggling to also help the citizens of the country or wherever we would put it. Mm-hmm. So a little bit of background about me. I studied international business with a concentration in finance at Bryant University.
Yeah.
So we took, you obviously had to, in the project, make an international business. You couldn't choose the United States. The country we settled on was Haiti. And I actually have one of my best friends was a roommate of mine too, from Haiti. So I was able to kind of talk to him a little bit about what a good business would be like from a country down there. And so one of the people in my group suggested hydroponic farming. I was very interested in the idea. It was the first time I encountered it.
Yeah.
So I began to do a little bit more research after the project was done. And then it just kind of spiraled into a full-scale business. And eventually what I was able to do is convince my parents if I graduated college early, I could take that money and kind of buy some of the equipment needed to grow.
And you did? You graduated, what did you put 3 years in?
3.5, yeah. So I
I
graduated.
didn't know you can do that.
Yep.
Don't they make you, to get your degree, they don't do that anymore?
It's a credit system. So I actually came in with college credits through AP work that I did
Very good.
in high school.
Now, you had a number of jobs before you decided on this. You're also the vice president of a real estate brokerage, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Which one is that?
NAI, Glickman, Cavago, and Jacobs.
So you have your do you have a degree in real estate at all, or is?
I have my real estate license. Yes.
Well, you're really multi-talented
I
and entrepreneur.
Yes, I've gotten somewhat good at multitasking over the last couple of years.
That's amazing. Now, you tried out other career options. What were those? Because we've got them right here.
Yeah, so my first internship was with the company Navin Hafty and Associates. Yeah. So it was a biomedical consulting company in Westboro, Massachusetts. So they do the IT services for a electronic platform used in hospitals called Meditech.
Yeah.
And so I worked a little bit in their accounting department there, and then it was a 2-year internship that I had with them. Not all at once, but kind of broken up during vacation periods. So the first year I was in their accounting department, and then the next I was in their project management team.
And also, you tried your hand at finance through the Glickman. Is this the same company, the Glickman company?
No, I had an internship when I was studying abroad in France for a company, Gestion de Patrimoine.
Now, how did you find them, or did they find you?
They found me through my school. So my school, Bryant University, did a great job of setting you up. One of the things that they mandate is that when you're abroad, you have to have an internship to get experience working in a foreign country. So
did you like it?
I did.
Can you speak French?
Exciting. I can speak a little bit, yeah. I'm somewhat conversational.
So can I. Yeah. I took, 4 or 5 years of it in school. We were given a choice. It's either Spanish or French. It was all college prep.
Yeah.
So I figured I'll take French, The other kids told me after, Spanish would have been easier.
Yeah, I actually graduated with a minor in French, and the thought process was that French is the international language of business.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested in eventually doing some business in Africa. I have an adopted brother from there. He was born in Liberia, and we've kind of talked here and there about kind of going over there and doing some real estate business. And so French is a kind of uniting language, and there's a bunch of different dialects in Africa.
I didn't know that the French brought people together to that language.
Yes,
in
it
business?
is.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought, I don't know. I would have thought maybe Spanish. I don't know. Not necessarily.
Yeah, it's primarily French right now. English is ticking up in its importance obviously in the global culture.
We'll talk with Nolan Ryan, and he is the founder and CEO of RydroFarming. Think tomatoes. So tell us about what your hydrofarming is.
Yeah, so really what I've been doing for about 3 years now The first 18 months was kind of the planning stage, and then I got to actually growing for about 13 months. After that, I'm creating a concept and an idea that can allow you to grow. Heirloom tomatoes is really the focus. What I'm going into.
What's
365.
Heirloom? What's that? Heirloom.
So heirloom tomatoes are some of the more unique tomato varieties out there. So obviously, when you go to a grocery store or like a restaurant, they typically give you kind of the standard red tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's about 8 ounces. They're usually about this big.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking into is growing some of the more unique heirlooms or tomatoes.
Smaller.
Depending on the variety you choose, but what comes with heirlooms is a much different flavor, nutritional content, and then on top of that, a lot of different colors. So
they're better for you.
They can be, yeah, in certain aspects, yeah, because they provide a different macro and micronutrient composition within the plant, and so if you're buying the same tomatoes over and over again, you don't get to diversify that kind of nutritional content. So yeah.
How does that hydrofarming work? Do you have special lighting?
So I do, and I actually brought, I know you said to bring kind of a prop, so
Let me
I'm not
hold this
sure.
up for you. Let's see if he can describe this for you.
So, and this is kind of the basic setup that I have in my facility right now.
Yeah.
Really what hydroponic farming is you farm without any soil. And so the concept is you plant the plants in what's called a grow medium, and then you flow liquid fertilizer through that grow medium and have it recirculate into a nutrient solution. So we have pumps that bring the water up into our root zones. The root zones are delivered liquid fertilizer via kind of I'm trying to think, kind of like a pump system.
Yeah.
And then that liquid fertilizer is kind of drained out, put back in the reservoir, and then it recirculates. So you save a lot on water. You're very precise with your nutrient solution.
Did you come up with that, or did you know that part already?
I did not come up with that. No, you can kind of buy certain nutrient mixes, but you do have to regulate certain levels for like pH and EC, which is kind of a nutrient, how present the nutrients are in the water. So you can dilute it or concentrate it based on what the plant needs.
Ryan, do you do this? Do you have a home base for this, or is this a company you have somewhere situated in another town?
So I actually retrofitted a barn and built kind of a greenhouse in there.
Where is that?
That's in Holden, Massachusetts.
That's in Holden.
Yep.
So now you give to supermarkets and restaurants.
I sell primarily to restaurants.
Already.
Yeah.
When did you start this?
About 14 months ago was when I actually planted the first seed. So June, I think it was June 27th, 2018 was when I first planted my seed. And then I've been growing and kind of selling to restaurants ever since.
How did they hear about you?
I would approach them, kind of cold call, walk, talk to them about what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I initially got kind of a contract to the Worcester Food Hub to supply tomatoes for them. And one thing that they do is they were kind of a lower price point than what I was really able to do, so I figured I needed to kind of make it a switch and to pick up some more customers. So I had a neighbor who owns Ox Locale, which is a great restaurant in Uxbridge.
What's it called?
Ox Locale.
Ox Locale?
Yes.
It's in Uxbridge?
Yep.
Okay, where in Uxbridge is it?
It's right off of, it's about 5 to 7 minutes off of 146.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you sell to them too, right?
I do sell to them, yep. And then Nuovo on Shrewsbury Street in Worcester as well.
We're talking with Nolan Ryan. He is the founder and CEO of RydroFarming. How can they reach you?
I do have a Facebook page. I have an Instagram as well, and both of those are RydroFarming. And then also I have an email account that you're able to email me, and I'm very easy to talk to. I love to communicate with anybody about my ideas and my product.
Do you give many presentations, Nolan? Get this word out a lot.
I do, yeah. I try to talk to as many people as I can about it. I'm very involved in a couple of different things. I recently became a part of the executive committee for the Venture Forum.
Good.
In Worcester.
Is that part of a startup thing?
It is. It's not directly tied to, but Startup Worcester, which is the organization that my company is part of, is heavily involved with the Venture Forum.
Startup Worcester. I don't think they were on our show years ago. It's not new. Is it? No,
it is not.
It was were they brother and sister, cousins? or husband and wife, I'm not sure, but they were on the show. They used to be on Lincoln Street. Was that the one?
I'm not sure. They now have offices on Portland Street.
Is it a big old factory? Used to be a factory?
To be honest, I don't know the origin of kind of it. Right now, what I'm part of is the Worcester Clean Tech
Where does that
Incubator.
mean?
So that's 44 Portland Street in Worcester, and so that's like a group of young entrepreneurs that are trying to get their businesses started. So Startup Worcester works with that organization to kind of provide us.
Something very interesting here. Mr. Ryan explained, I am able to make on behalf of my business, the connections. Many people do not view agriculture as a profitable investment, and so making them aware of the opportunities can be challenging. Yeah, people must look at you like, what? Tomatoes?
Yep.
How do you convince them?
Well, a lot of it has to do with actually the current production system of agriculture in the United States and the shifting market demands, I think, and especially in the younger generations. I, for one, am of the opinion that the focus, there's going to be a tremendous amount of focus on healthy food, especially how it's grown and the process and procedures used. I think there's going to be a lot of light shed to what insecticides and pesticides actually do to human species. I mean, if you look at just an organism level, they're not healthy.
No.
And they don't promote a good lifestyle. And they definitely don't help humans. And so I think, once the end consumer is able to trace kind of how their produce and food really just in general is made, I think that's going to make a huge difference as to what type of agricultural operations become profitable or not.
Do you think, Nolan, that you will go beyond, do the tomatoes still, but do other produce?
Absolutely, yeah. If I get the
what would you be
opportunity.
doing?
So really any vine crop plants, so the cucumbers, peppers.
Okay. What is that thing I like so? I can't. What is it? Zucchinis. Do they grow?
Zucchinis. Yep.
Okay.
You're able to grow zucchinis.
You're looking to that then
hydroponically.
too.
Yeah. Right now I'm really focused on the tomatoes, and I'd like to get an operation up. I'm currently in the process of designing kind of a two-phase greenhouse operation right now. But I would love to be able to branch into some of the other crops, because really the principle of my business is that I want to localize the production. And so what we're seeing in the tomato industry is in the northeast section of the United States, we import a significant amount of our tomatoes. And the
Aren't
ones
they
that
from the West Coast, kind of?
Yep,
Yeah.
and then the ones that we do domestically produce come from California.
Yeah.
About 96% come from California. So what that means is you actually need to pick the tomatoes very early on in their fruiting stage.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking to develop a fully grown fruit, the tomatoes take about 5 weeks to really, from the point where they flower to you can harvest them. And then that last 10 days is when they actually get a majority, if not all, of their macronutrient and kind of flavor in them.
Yeah.
And so what you're seeing is companies now are picking them before that point, actually when they're green, shipping them to local distribution centers and then flushing them with ethanol gas.
Oh,
That
what
changes-
does that do to it, though?
That changes the pigmentation.
So
they
those aren't really
appear-
always, they're not always
They're
red?
really not as red or as ripe as consumers are made to believe.
So that gas that you're saying that they shoot on these tomatoes, what does that do to us?
I don't know biologically what that does to us, but I can speak to the fact that it doesn't, it changes the pigmentation levels in the plant, so they appear to be ripe, but the flavor is not there.
So you're
And
not using any chemicals whatsoever?
I do not, yeah. The mindset of RydroFarming is instead of modifying the plant to fit an environment,
Yeah.
we want to modify the environment to fit the plant.
Absolutely.
And so you
critical, yeah.
maximize the efficiencies within the environment to allow the plant to grow in its most efficient form. And then also by localizing the production center, you can cut down on distribution times, allowing for the tomatoes to ripen on the vine more.
I'm thinking also nursing homes, other facilities, hospitals.
Yep.
Have you approached like UMass or Milford?
I'm in the process of approaching
good.
clientele. Really what I'm trying to do right now is narrow down financial numbers of how much it would cost to build an operation.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a unique process because every single hydroponic operation is built with different equipment, different size, different
This is
scale.
what you have right now. This is what the drawing you have right here.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's kind of how the operation works right now.
How big is it? How much space does it take up?
I'm only growing at about 250 square feet right now, and
Okay.
1,000 total for like equipment storage and everything like that. But I'm looking to put together a plan for about a 12,000 square foot operation, 7,500 of that being cultivation, about 1,000 of propagation, kind of in a healing chamber. I would need to do what's called grafting.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually grow 2 types of tomatoes at once. The heirloom varieties that will fruit.
That fascinates me. The heirloom variety. I'm thinking, they're a little bit smaller, right?
They are. It really depends. The heirlooms. The reason why they haven't been easily accessible in kind of the marketplace is because they have greater genetic diversity.
Yeah.
Which means kind of when you're approaching things from a yield standpoint, and as far as customer reactions, just any sort of, there's a lot more wiggle room as what you're going to get in the end product.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at it from a purely financial perspective, it makes more sense to go with some of these well-known kind of generation over generation driven yield tomatoes.
If somebody, Nolan, companies out there, restaurants, whatever, I'm sure there's going to be many of them, but we have so many restaurants. They want to connect with you. How many tomatoes right now can you give them? Do they order them per or by box?
Really what the best thing to do would be to approach me, to either call me or just contact me through Instagram, Facebook. And the best thing I can think for the restaurants right now, because I'm kind of in an in-between phase where I've learned a lot about how to grow, but I do need a bigger operation to actually meet some of the demand that I'm currently experiencing. But on the restaurant side of things, what I can speak to is being in this unique position, I'm actually working to put together kind of a little menu of a couple different varieties of heirloom tomatoes.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to start having conversations with restaurants that want to use them. And so what I can do for them is kind of backfill orders in the sense where if they want a certain variety from the months of January to February or March, I can plant those plants and give them estimated times of when they're going to be ready to pick, harvest, and they can kind of create a menu and know to add dishes to that menu when the plants are going to be ready.
I'm thinking, are you staying just in Massachusetts, or are you branching out further and further as you go? You have to have a bigger facility to do that?
I would need a bigger facility, yeah. And so that's ultimately what I want to do, is design a large-scale greenhouse.
Yeah.
But there are certain factors and things that I want to test before I get to that level, just to make sure kind of, certain things like packaging, exactly what varieties work best with people. So there is a little bit of like a trial period that I'm trying to do, and that's really what that kind of 12,000 square foot facility will be able to do for me, is answer a lot of those questions so that if I do scale up and can reach a larger consumer base, I'm not kind of tripping over myself and making some of the mistakes.
Did you ever think when you were at college that you would go into this?
No, actually, the funniest quote that I can think about all of this was, I remember my mom one day, she said something to me about kind of agriculture, and I remember giving her kind of a flippant remark at the time. I was young, immature, and I said, the reason why I'm going to business school is so I don't have to become like a goddamn farmer. And then, and who knows, look at me now.
What does she think?
She thinks it's funny. It's definitely very ironic.
It's cute.
But it's the whole arc of where I came from. I originally wanted to be kind of like a Wall Street guy, and now I'm very interested in social businesses. I think one of the things that a younger generation should focus on is being able to understand how our economics work and being able to promote our societal changes through growing businesses. And I think this is an example of that.
And again, how can they reach you?
I have an email address at RydroFarming@gmail.com, so that is RYDRO at gmail, or RYDROfarming@gmail.com. I do have an Instagram page, it's at RydroFarming, and then Facebook as well. And then I would love to, I do have a cell phone, my number is 774-364-4642. I would love to have any conversation with anybody who's interested in either learning more about what I do or seeing how I can kind of help a restaurant or a grocery store add and diversify some of their produce.
Do you hit them up with emails to introduce yourself, or do you call or show up?
Usually I prefer to actually show up.
Good.
I think a face-to-face introduction. And really what I'm at the stage of my business is I'm looking to develop relationships with people, and either chefs or restaurant owners, and really being able to have an efficient communication of what they want and what I can provide them, and working together to kind of accomplish a goal of not only being able to provide people healthier food, but different and more unique food as well.
Well, you certainly succeeded because it's this company. This is only 14 months old.
Yeah. Yep.
RydroFarming
Yeah.
is only 14 months, and you've taken off. How did it take off right away, or did it sort of go like this?
It's definitely kind of taking off a little bit gradually over time.
Yeah.
I feel like now, since it's been over a year and I've kind of tested things, I'm getting a much better grasp of how to kind of get the name out there and things like that. It was a little slow at first, and obviously part of that was kind of just due to the fact that I was doing college as well.
Yeah.
But things are kind of moving, and I'm picking up traction, which is great.
Speaking of college, I would think place of Holy Cross, Clark. They have to feed the kids.
Yeah.
Have you tried them yet?
Yeah. So institutions like that are ones that I'm going to be looking at targeting.
And Brian, watch. They could see a success story coming in where you went to college and say,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, sign us up for those tomatoes."
Yep. Yeah.
Where do you work at some other place right now, or are you just concentrating on the hydrofarming?
No, I'm full-time in commercial real estate as well.
Full-time in commercial real estate.
Yep.
Okay, so not people looking for a home, but businesses looking for a place.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I do. It's a very interesting job, and one of the things that I find is most rewarding is, commercial real estate is actually, I focus in the industrial sector right now. And that's getting your commercial space correct,
Yeah.
and making sure your business ops work within the space that you have is essential to driving profitability, revenue. And I really like the problem of trying to find the best fit for every business. That is something that it's a challenge that I love to undertake, and I love to help my clients with.
Are they surprised? Do you tell them, share with your fellow real estate brokers that this is what I do, my other job?
I do, yeah, because it comes up. They'll ask me, "What are you doing on the weekend?" or something like that. And usually, when you tell people you're farming on the weekend in December, it kind of begs a couple other questions. So they are aware of what I'm doing, and I always, again, love to have conversations with them. So
Ryan, do you? Nolan. No, I'm getting this all mixed up. Nolan.
That's perfect.
There's a baseball player, right? Nolan,
Yep.
Ryan? Do
Yeah.
you ever consider going to the high schools and giving a presentation? Because this idea could take off when they get out of high school. What do you think?
I think that actually is an idea that I've been playing around with too.
Yeah.
Especially, I think hydroponics in itself is a very, it's not a new concept, but it's new in the commercial space.
Yeah.
And so I think there could be a lot of opportunities for schools to implement a small-scale farm, and I think it would be a very interactive type experience for students to have, where they can very rapidly see their, if you take a young kid and you show him how to grow a plant using this new thing, he's going to see the growth physically, he or she, and then, I think it could be a tremendous educational opportunity.
Have you thought of teaching this? You're a genius at it. You remind me of a professor that can do this. Just get up there and work right with the people.
I mean, I think part of the business proposition that I can add is, I think when you look at retail locations, they're going to start looking to grow on site, and so that's a different, being able to consult companies, whether it's restaurants or kind of grocery stores. I have thought about like the consulting side of it, but as far as being a professor, my dad, if he watches this or when he watches this, is probably going to laugh because he is a professor himself.
What does he teach?
Economics at Becker University.
So. Okay, my grandfather majored in economics at Clark.
Oh, okay.
Becker, that's in Worcester too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously.
It is.
So.
Yeah.
What made you want to go to Bryant?
I really did like their international business program. I've always kind of seen myself as somebody who can travel and be able to work within different cultures and really get out there and kind of explore. And then I did fall in love with the campus when I went there the first time.
You liked it.
And so I was also able to do a little bit of track and field there too.
Yeah.
So it kind of had the right ingredients for what I felt comfortable doing at the time.
So when people want to reach you, they can automatic, but we're going to do it again, how they can reach you.
Mm-hmm.
It can be anybody. It can be a restaurant. It could be a nursing home. It could be a hospital. It could be a school, college, any that are looking to have healthy tomatoes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan. Again, how can they know it? How can they reach you?
You can reach me via email at RydroFarming, so that is RydroFarming rming@gmail.com, or you can feel free to text or call me at 774-364-4642. I do have a Facebook and Instagram page, and that is at RydroFarming.
With the first name Ryan, that's why I keep getting I keep thinking I'm putting it backwards. What's the future for your company? What do you see as a goal? Or do you just take it one day at a time?
So long term, what I'd like to do is develop a greenhouse, a large scale greenhouse in the Worcester area, and be able to kind of service the Northeast. I would like to obviously expand into different vegetables and different crops. I'm highly looking into the tech side of agrotech. That's going to be a $25 billion industry by 2025.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in agrotech advancements. And one of the things that I've recently actually stumbled upon, and I try to do a lot of research on, is space. And so there's going to be significant advancements in space.
You mean outer space?
Outer space, absolutely.
Oh, my grandson would love you.
And by 2024, there's actually going to be a hotel in space. There's already plans and implementations for that.
Are you serious?
Absolutely, yes.
How are they going to do that?
I have no idea.
How do you build on air? Were you thinking on the moon?
Well, not this. Obviously, is nothing I'm doing, but just kind of thinking where the agricultural sphere can kind of travel to. You know, obviously, if there's going to be things as hotels and commercial operations in space, you have to feed the people, and so that could be something as well to kind of look into.
You could stay in this area, you think, though, for your base?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you for being with us.
Absolutely.
Very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
See you next time on Be My Guest.